All right. Hi. So good night, everyone. Okay. All right. So I'm not sure if you guys can see this. All right. So as you can see, the title, we are in the grades controversy. And so today, while I was studying, I found something that's really important that I wanted to share. But all right, so the first part says religious and secular authorities have combined to enforce the observance of the Sunday. The refusal, uh, the persistent refusal of a small minority to yield to the popular demand will make them objects of individual execration. Um, see if we can read that. Religious and secular authorities have combined to enforce the observance of the Sunday. The persistent refusal of the small minority to yield to the popular demand will make them objects of universal execution. So this video is for both, it's for everyone because everyone needs to going on. Alright, so what I did was I made a diagram. Alright, so the first thing is we're going to be breaking this down, and this can be found in the Great Controversy chapter. It's the chapter after the impending conflict, page 535. Alright, so when it says religious and secular, wait 1 second, guys. Alright, I wanted to get like a whiteboard to show you guys a proper image, but I can't even find it. So we're going to have to work with this piece of paper. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to look on is okay. So the first thing that we're going to be looking on is religious and secular authorities. So which power is secular authorities and which power is religious? So we realize that it says and, meaning there's two of them. So you have religious and you have secular authority. So you have religious here, and religious refers to the church. Then you have secular authorities, and that refers to states. So church and state is a broad topic. So you're probably wondering, um, be more specific. Well, we're gonna be more specific, and the religious power of church is the Roman Roman Catholics. What's that? More specifically, the Pope. Right. So next, so that is the church. Next, you have. Okay, this is kind of confusing. Alright, so next you have secular authorities. Secular authorities. And it is the state. We establish that it's the state. And what says exactly? Well, it is the government and governors. Alright, so now that we have established that, that, it says they have combined. So religious and secular authorities, church and state, the governors, the governments, and the Pope, the Roman Catholics, have combined. And here we see the arrows connecting together. Combine. Combine. So you're probably wondering, okay, but what does this mean? Let's get into it. Okay. They have combined to enforce the observance of the Sunday. Alright? So that is the reason they came together. That is the reason they are now working together. I think I'm going to have to do this video because alright, bear with me. So they have combined, these two powers have combined to enforce. This is a key word right here. Let me circle it. To enforce. What does enforce mean to you? They have combined to enforce the observance of the Sunday. Alright, of the Sunday. And that is the Sunday law. If you're not sure what that is, it's a law made that basically they're going to make it in a way where it's a law where we need to rest on the Sunday and we need to honor the Sunday and we need to observe it and we need to be obedient to the Sunday. So maybe you're asking, then what's the problem in that? So what about, other persons who has different religious views? 7-day Adventists. What about them? How is it going to affect them? And even persons who are not 7-day Adventists, there are persons out there that are Sunday worshippers, but they don't want to be forced to observe it anyways. Now we're going to focus a little bit on persons that are being forced to do so. Alright. Why did they combine to to create a law that what's this? Blocks, controls freedom of choice, both politically and religiously. So let me read that again. To create a law, they have combined to create a law that blocks slash controls freedom of choice both politically and religiously. Alright. Okay, we're now gonna go back to the quotes. So we know this is referring to, who this is referring to, why they have combined to enforce the observance of Sunday. Let's read the next part. The persistent refusal of a small minority to yield to the popular demand will make them objects of unusual execration. So you're probably wondering, which you're probably not wondering, or you're probably wondering, who will be the type of person to go against the law, to break the law, to not want to observe the Sunday law that they are enforcing. Well, I think I said it earlier, but we're going to go in details. Alright, we're going to go into details to see who is this small minority that persistently refuse. Alright. Alright, so continuing here, there will be a minority that refuse to, there will be a small minority that refuse to be controlled, forced to obey men, and instead stay faithful to God in keeping His true and holy Sabbath, which is Saturday. So one of the reason why so one of the reason why this small minority does not want to succumb to observing this day, the Sunday law, is because they want to stay faithful to God, they want to stay true to His words, and they do not want to worship men instead of God. They want to stay focused. They want to stay faithful to God. And that is a small minority, a group of people that would rather the truth, worship God in the truth and not man. So, what happens to a bunch of people when they refuse to acknowledge and to obey this law? Let's see. Alright, so moving from over here to over here. I'm going to read it for you. They will be blamed for the evil / wickedness that will start to happen. They will be fined, they will be arrested, they will be jailed, they will be taunted slash bullied, they will be persecuted, and they will be, in the very end, they will make it possible to have them killed. All right, 7 things that will happen to that small minority that chooses to obey God than man, that chooses to keep God's commandments than man's own words. That will happen to the small minority. Now, this does not mean you're going to be scared and you're going to run to obey another human being. Yeah. So as I was saying, this does not mean you're going to be scared. This means you are going to be faithful, you're going to be confident that God is going to bring you through this. And if you are a Bible believing Christian, you know that God's children, we do not run from danger. It's not really danger, it's living like Paul lived, right? It's living like Moses lived. It's living like all those men and women in the Bible that stood firm in faith, even when things got tough. And our greatest example, of course, was Jesus Christ. He did not run from being crucified. He accepted it because he knows that God was going to raise him up, that God was going to save not only him but the entire human race if we choose to obey and accept God. So it's nothing to be scared about, it's something to look forward to because we know that when these things happen, it further proves that God is real and that these things happen so that the gospel can be further spread. And overall, when this happens, it helps to strengthen us and it helps to convert others over to God. And be happy because the end is near when these things are coming to pass. Because I'm sure we all want to go home. Alright, so next, all these reasons, they're going to be blamed for the evil, the wickedness that will happen. They'll be fined, they'll be arrested, they'll be taunted, bullied, jailed, persecuted, and eventually be killed. But why? Why to such an extreme measure? Let's see. And we are moving from over here to here. And it says their reasoning. Job, John 11, verse 50. And we're going to turn there quickly. See what it says. So, alright. I should have wrote this down, but alright, so John 11, verse 50. Nor nor do you consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish. So I'm going to tell you what I meant by that, and who said that, and what they meant. So that was Caiaphas, if that's how you say his name. That was Caiaphas speaking, and he was talking about Jesus. And what he was saying was that it's best for Jesus to die and let the the commotion just end as well. Let's keep him alive, and then the entire crowd blames him and be angry with him, and then everybody obsessed is upset and thing is out of control. Rather, he offered to be a part of the death of Jesus, and then after that, everything was peaceful, right? In his mind, that's what he thought was best. So, the reason I chose this verse for their reason is this reason. So, let me show you. So, it says, it is better for them to suffer than for the whole nations to be thrown into confusion and lawlessness. So, in the future, when things are spiraling out of control and things are hitting the fan, people, the people on top, they love control and they want everybody to be under control, under their control. And so, that small minority will not want to be in control under them. So they are going to find ways and means to show up and to show out in a way where those people, the elites and the governments and the Pope and all those evil men that runs the world, they will not like that. And so to them, we are the one that's creating chaos. We are the one that is making things spiral out of control. We are the ones that are the troublemakers. We are the ones that are we are the problem. That's how they will see us. And so they are going to do a similar thing to what Caiaphas did. They are going to want to kill one man, that's the minority, get rid of the minority so that they can have a calm and peaceful controlled society without us disrupting them. So that's what they did to Jesus, that's what they're going to do to us. So it's basically history repeating itself once again. We are right down here where it says the same arguments Caiaphas used when Jesus was crucified. Doing wrong by pleasing the crowd than doing what's right. Bear in mind, these people know what's right from wrong, but they are being controlled by Satan. Guys, that is not even the most intense part. The most intense part is knowing that there will be a time when God's presence will be withdrawn from his people, and so evil right now is barely what evil really is. In that time, evil will be much more it's gonna be much more crazy, like 100 times crazy. If you've read the Great Controversy, you know that Satan has what do I say this? Satan has he has things ready and set in place that he's going to unleash on the world, on the small minority, not just us either, on everyone. He is going to attack full. But still, this is not fearmonger. Because remember, we have a God, we still have a God that is more powerful than Satan, a God that has already won. So do not be afraid, because the evil that's going to happen is temporary. But the good that's going to happen, that is permanent. So don't be afraid to die permanently on this earth, to live eternally in heaven, rather than to live on this earth permanently and die permanently, than to live in earth. I mean, than to live on this earth temporary, than to live in heaven permanently. If you get what I'm saying. All right. So, also one thing that I need to note is my last diagram right here. This right here, and it says the time of Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30, verse 5 to 7. You can read that on your own time. This is the time when Jacob wrestled with God for deliverance. That is going to be us. We are going to be wrestling with God. We're going to be praying. Wait, is it us or to study that up some more? But Jacob's time of trouble in Jeremiah 30, that will also be repeated as well. History just keeps repeating itself. And my last point on this before the video gets any longer is Romanism in the old world. Romanism in the old world and apostate Protestantism in the new will pursue a similar course towards those who honor all the divine precepts. Does anyone remember what Romanism was in those days? It was truly cruel. Books and authors have written about how the one church that has done the most killing and persecution upon Christian is the one and only Roman Catholics. They killed millions of Christians back in those days. Similar course. Millions of Christians will die yet again. But do not be afraid. I know it sounds scary, but I just want you to know to stand, be strong, be brave. Know that you're not just going to die in vain. There's hope. All right, there's hope. Stay faithful to God no matter how hard it gets. Keep holding on to God no matter what happens. Whether we make it in those future where these stuff is going to come through or we don't, keep faithful to God no matter what happens. Also, you're probably wondering what apostate Protestantism is. Right here. Alright, so apostate Protestantism is, first of all, what is apostate? What is Protestantism? I kind of forgot what apostate is, but Protestantism is churches that are not a part of Roman Catholics. So Adventists, Baptists, Bethel, all of those things. I think apostate is leave when you start believing in something that you used to believe in and go back to what you used to believe in. So basically, um, any church that is not a part of Rome right now in 2026 that will be joined in with Roman Catholics. Alright, so you're not a part of the Roman Catholic, but you are a Protestant church. Once you're a Protestant church, a Protestant person, and you go to join Roman Catholic, you automatically become an apostate Protestantism person. So what that means is you'll be joined together with the Romans. I'll probably have to do another study on that, but it's something similar to that. It's not really important with what this is. It's like another study, but if you're interested, you can go and learn that on your own time. It is quite interesting, but I also need to redo this video because there's not the visual and it's too long. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys go ahead and study the Great Controversy for yourselves. It is quite interesting, you guys. So, right, that is it. I hope that God bless you guys and keep you guys in these times. If you've watched my last video, I'm not sure if you understand, but I actually don't want to really go in depth. But if you are keeping up, you know why I made that video. The purpose of that video is for everyone to just relax. Stop focusing on news. I mean, be familiar with what's happening, but don't let it get you down or depress you. Or like, if you follow the news, it can drive you crazy. So just trust in God, keep living as Jesus was living when he was on earth, you know. And don't worry or fret, everything is going to be okay. Alright, so bye guys.